Jonathan Staiano, consultant plastic surgeon, and I run Staiano Consulting, which is a service that I offer here from my clinic in Edgbaston, helping other doctors to build their private practices. And I'm going to talk about how you go about dealing with an initial inquiry. Absolutely fundamental thing to get right with your practice, but something that a lot of people don't spend time thinking about. And it's something that you really have to plan in your mind before you actually do anything about, which is true in so much of what I do when I talk about building and growing your practice, thinking about in your mind what the best way to treat a patient is, and then you put systems in place that make sure that happens to every person who comes through your practice. So, how do you deal with an initial inquiry? Okay, so basically you've got to think how you're going to get that inquiry. What information are you going to get from the inquiry? And broadly speaking, there's going to be two ways that an inquiry can get to you. One is with a phone number and one is with an email. So you've got phone and email. So phone means that they can actually phone you, or they can put an inquiry form in with their phone number on it. And email is, again, an inquiry form with their email address on it. Between the two, between phone and email, when it comes to initially dealing with the inquiry, if you've got both phone and email address, phone is better. So what you should do is you should phone them. So you should phone that person. And there's two options when you phone them. They'll either answer the phone or they won't answer the phone. And the goal of what you're trying to do with an initial inquiry is you are trying to see if they want to book an appointment. So that's what you're trying to get to. You're trying to get to that they book an appointment, or it might not be appropriate for whatever reason. For the surgery might not be right for them at this time or whatever. So either they've got to book an appointment or they're not appropriate. That's what you're trying to get to with this endeavour. So if they answer the phone, you might go straight to your goal. They might book an appointment, or they might be not appropriate. Or they might just want more information and they might want to think about things. So when it comes to giving more information, it might be that there'll be some reason that they won't be ready to book an appointment now, in terms of they might be pregnant, or there might be some circumstances in their life that they're not ready for the surgery yet. So you might want to schedule a follow-up call with them at a period in the future. So that might be the case, that might not be the case. But quite often the case is that they're not quite ready to book a consultation, they're just ringing for some more information. And so that is where you should try and get their email address. Because when it comes to dealing with inquiries, phone is great, and phone is sort of like, it's like the paper and the kindling when you're making a fire. You know, when you light the fire, the paper and the kindling is the thing that gets the fire going and really gets it started. But then you've got your wood and your coal, which sort of keeps it going. And the wood and the coal that keeps it going is your email. So email's not quite so good for getting it started, but it's much better for keeping it going. So on the phone call, you ideally, if you haven't already got it, want to get the email address. And so with the email address, then you can follow up on people. And that brings you back down to here. So the other option is they might not answer the phone. So then what do you do if they don't answer the phone? And this is where it comes to sitting down and thinking about it. You've got to think about what the best thing to do is for someone who has inquired. Because too often we just try and phone them, and then we may or may not try again another day, depending on whether your secretary's busy or not, or depending on whether it's a Friday or a Monday. But you really need to think about what the right system is to have. So broadly speaking, what you're going to do is you're going to want to call them back. And again, there'll be different systems for different people, but it's good to think about things. But in broad terms, what you want to try and do is This bit here, when you make the phone call, you want to make the phone call within a certain time scale when you get an inquiry. So you really want to deal with an inquiry, whether it's by phone or email. You want to deal with the inquiry in the first few hours, certainly within a working day, to get some kind of response out, whether it be by phone or email. And then you've got to think about when you're calling back. So you're calling back, maybe next day, you want to call back. And now when you can start bringing in a system, you can think about different times of day. So maybe you can say next day, maybe at a certain time, say 4 p.m. And then, again, you could complete the sequence then, because they could book an appointment or could be not appropriate. But then if you don't complete the sequence, what do? A lot of people don't utilize text enough. So you've got to remember, you've got their phone number. So it's good you can use text. Some people like text, some people prefer text to speaking on the phone, and particularly if you're at work and things, they can't always answer the phone. So utilize text. Maybe have a system where you send out a standard text if you can't get hold of someone. And then keep on calling back. And you might have tried at 4 o'clock, so you might try at 10 a.m. After maybe 2 days, maybe 1 day there. Then you might want to wait another period of time, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, whatever you want to say, and then maybe call back maybe at a different time, maybe midday. And think again what the ideal situation is, because at some point you're going to want to end this. You don't want to keep on calling people back, and certainly don't want to keep on leaving messages every time. Maybe leave messages on the first one and then on the last one, but you want to keep on leaving messages every few days, because that can be annoying if people are picking up their phone, they've had loads of messages on their phone. And it's quite nice to have an endpoint. So if you have an endpoint, maybe after whatever you want to make it, 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever, you have an endpoint, and then with the endpoint, again, because you've got the number, you can maybe send a text saying, look, we tried to get hold of you, but we couldn't get hold of you, here's the details, here's how you contact me, it'd be lovely to hear from you. And then we move on to the email. So it's good to have a sort of closed system there. That's a closed system for how you deal with an inquiry where you've got a phone number, and if particularly that's all you've got. And again, your text at the end might say, look, if you send me your email, I can email you some more details about the service that we offer. If you have an email inquiry, then you obviously reply to the email, again, within the time frame that is suggested. And there's a few things that you want to say when you reply to an email. So you want to say thank you. So thank you for your inquiry. You want to give some calls to action. So you want to give your details, because at the end of the day, you want to ideally really want to book an appointment. You also want to know if they're not appropriate, but the main thing is really to see if they want to book an appointment. So you want to give them an option to be able to book that appointment. So you want to give them your phone number, your email address, or say you can reply to me on this email address if you'd like more information or would like to book an appointment. And you want to give them some information. So at this stage, you may not know what they're interested in. So you want to have a generic email that you can send out with some information. And what you really want to convey in your email or emails that you send out is what makes you stand out from other people. So why should people come and see you? And that's what you want to put out in your email, maybe your first email, maybe you want to have 1 or 2 emails that you send out afterwards saying why people should come and see you, who you are, what you stand for, what your training is, and how you deal with patients and how you look after patients. And then following on from that, there's 2 options with the email. You either know what procedure they want, or you don't know what procedure they want. So if you know what procedure they want, then you can have some emails sending out specific to those procedures. So if most of us just deal with a few things, a few types of procedures, and so for the common procedures you can have some emails that you send out that can deal with some frequently asked questions or some issues around those procedures. And if you don't know what procedure they want, then you can send out an email saying, could you let me know what procedure you're interested in. And also, if you haven't got their phone number, your emails can also be angled towards asking if they can give you their phone number, because the phone number is something that is really, really helpful to try and get that fire started, because that is the kindling. So if you haven't got the phone number, your emails will give them an easy way for them to give you your phone number, because then you can move up into your phone number sequence and get them to engage on a personal level. So broadly speaking, so if you don't know procedure, you really want to know what procedure, and then you can go into here. So broadly speaking, the take-home messages are that if you really want your phone number to get the fire started, your phone number is your kindling, the email address is the sort of the fuel, the coal or the wood. You need to have a system of how you follow up, and that needs to be consistent. So you have to have a consistent way of following up with people for your secretary or whoever to follow, that you can then ensure that everyone gets a consistently high level of service. And you need to have calls to action. You need to have ways of people to contact you, either by phoning you or by emailing you or by texting you, so that they can come to find this final common pathway, which is to book an appointment. So I hope that's been helpful. That's just basically how you should deal with an inquiry. The exact way you do it will be bespoke to you, and it needs time to just sit down, work it out, plan it out, and then you have a system for how you do it in your practice, and you can always adjust it and change the timings based on patient feedback. Thanks very much. Hope that's been helpful.